Hey, this is Oliver with Everpeak Partners, and I'm going to walk through how to use Salesforce from a salesperson's perspective. And we'll come over here, and what I'd like to keep in mind is that this is just a generic overview of how to use Salesforce. Every business is very different, and so the needs, the custom fields, the ways the pages are laid out, the reports and dashboards, and really the overall process behind the whole thing varies quite a bit, but this is just covering some of the basic features and how you might use Salesforce. So starting off here, we've got our homepage that we land on once we get logged in. We've got our quarterly performance, and these are customized down here, but these are some overview dashboards just showing some stats like the open opportunities by close date. So kind of a projection of when your opportunities are expected to close and what the dollar value looks like for those months. Leads by status, leads by lead source, opportunities by lead source, etc. We've also got events, tasks, and really the homepage should be the place that you land on when you log in, and it gives you an overview of some of the key information that you need to keep in mind. So we'll start off with leads, and of course you can hit a new lead right here and just work through filling out the information. Once you get through that, there's a process behind the lead. And so we've got new, working, and qualified. You want to make sure that those statuses are up to date. And ideally, and I'm just jumping around here, ideally there's going to be some guidance for success. So you'll have a little bit of text customized down below that says what you should be doing in each of those stages. And that way you can keep your views and keep everything orderly. If it's not a fit, you'd mark it as disqualified. And basically, as you're working your way through the process, if you have a phone call, you might log that. You'd say discussed XYZ regarding the sale of 20 generators. And you would just hit log a call, and you'll see that that goes into your past activity. And then we'll do a new task. And so we will say we want to have a phone call, and we want to call them on Wednesday. So I'll save that in there, and you'll see that goes into next steps. And if you had also scheduled a meeting, and ideally if you're on Outlook or Gmail, your calendar should be synced. If you sent them a meeting invite, that would go out. So let's say we've got a meeting on the 23rd. And so you can see next steps and past activities. Similarly to the calendar, your emails should be synced up. So if you're in Outlook or Gmail, those emails will automatically get logged into your past activity. You can also create new templates. In fact, I'll briefly walk through this. So you could say hi, insert first name, hi first name, thanks for taking the time to meet. Here's some additional information. And so if you've got some longer emails that you can templatize, you can just click here, save it as a new template. Oh, and you've got to put a subject. And then you can save that as a new template. So we could call it, thanks for meeting. And we'll save that. And then let's say we were in a different lead, or we'll just come back to the same one. Oh, that one's different. You go in here, click right here, and insert that, and that'll auto-populate what you created for the template. You can click the preview icon right here, and you can see that we're emailing Andy, and it'll show up, "Hi Andy, thanks for taking the time to meet. Here's some additional info." And ideally, your Salesforce consultant or admin would have set the email signature down here. So that should auto-populate as well. So anyway, we'll go back to that sample lead here. So we'll go to our recently viewed. And so there are 4 different categories, and we can have more. This is, of course, customizable. Maybe remove some of these, but we've got activity, which is what we just went through. We've got our details. These are the custom fields that are being tracked. So where did they come from, their lead source, their website, their industry, annual revenue, address, contact info, and other custom fields as well. So you can see this one is interested in a GC 5000 series. So as you're working your way through the process, and of course every company might have this a little bit differently, but you'd have something like a new status to be the default. I typically recommend as my process that everything defaults as new, and then once you get a response from them or start having some engagement, you'd put it into working. And then from there, there's really 2 things that can happen, or actually there's 3. One is they say it's not the right time, and you might have a nurturing status that you could put it into. They say it's not the right fit. We're not ever going to be interested, in which you would disqualify it. Maybe they went out of business. Maybe it's just really not the right fit. Or they're interested in moving forward. If they are, you're going to convert it. And before we convert it, I'll just cover the last 2 that are down here. So activity, details. Chatter is a really important tool. It's a social collaboration tool. So maybe you've got a document that you want to send them, and you want to get some feedback. So you could mention one of your colleagues, and you say, what do you think of this document to send over? And you could go ahead and grab, maybe it's a PDF or a white paper or something that's been custom tailored to their needs, and you'd say, hey, what do you think of this? And that typically should send them out an email. They could go in here, comment, looks great, and you've got all kinds of fun smiley faces. You can even format this in bullet points, attach a revised version, and so that way, rather than having all of this in your email inbox, you get it listed out here, and it's all on the chatter record. So then when you're in detail, you just pop over here and you get that record. Final component is news, so we can hook into Twitter, and it can also pull in relevant news articles if it's a large enough company and they get articles about their stock price or new CFO or whatever would put them in the news. Sometimes that's good to check into before you give them a phone call. So anyway, back to where we were. We have had a phone call, we've got a follow-up call, and we've got a follow-up meeting. And so what we're going to do is convert it, because we've confirmed 2 things. There's a fit on their side and there's a fit on our side. It means they are in your sort of ideal prospect, ideal client customer profile. And then on their end, they've expressed interest. Does not mean that they're ready to sign an agreement. In fact, they could be quite a ways away, but it just means that they're interested. So from this point, we're going to convert the lead, and it's going to go into an account, contact, and an opportunity. And we could do the opportunity name as the company name dash XYZ product, 500 of XYZ product. And we're going to convert that. And now we've got our account, which is the hub of everything, and you can have as many contacts as you'd like and as many opportunities as you'd like. So you might know 20 people at this company, and you might have 100 different sales with them over the course of the year, and so those would all be listed out in the related. Optionally, if you have support tickets, and this is a whole process on its own, so maybe they have an issue with installation or performance, or maybe you're a software company and there's a bug in the software that they're running into, you can create a case and you can work through the process, even have that integrated with a web form. You can also attach as many files as you'd like. And so that's kind of the related page, and that also links to the contact record. So again, this is the account. This is really the place for the company info, and then you have your link to the opportunities. So just briefly to cover this, if you jump in here, you can see these are all sorts of various fields about the account here. We go into the contact, and this is information, and again we'll go to details, information on that individual. And then if we pop over to the opportunity, this is where we pick up with the sales process. So we had updated the lead status. We went from new to working to converted. After it gets converted, we pick up with the field prospecting. From here, we would work our way through, and of course, there's all kinds of things that you might do as you're getting to the value proposition, getting a proposal out. And if we look at our details here, you can see things like the amount, the expected revenue from the sale. Is it an upgrade? Is it a replacement? Is it a downgrade? Are there any competitors? Are we ready to install? And this demo, by the way, is kind of like a company that would be selling generators. So there's some specific information that would just be relevant to them. Every business is different. So once you get your fields lined up in there, what you'd want to do is you'd probably want to add some products here. And I'm actually just going to throw on here our quote template. I'm doing a little bit of configuration on the fly. Because maybe I can walk you guys through creating quotes. Let's see here. So you can ignore that, and I'll just refresh this page. So what we can do is we can create a quote, and you can add the products that you think are relevant. Add the products that you think are relevant on the quote. So we'll do a new quote. You can give it a name. As long as your format is consistent, it doesn't really matter. We could say So we'll save that quote, and now we'll open it up here and we can add products to the quote. So let's say that they want the Gen Watt diesel 200 kilowatts and they want the Gen Watt propane 500 kilowatts. So you can pick as many of these as you want. And let's say there's also going to be an installation for these. So we'll go in here and we'll put the quantities. You can see those prices default. We'll say that there's one installation for that, one installation for that, and they're getting 20 of these and they're getting 500 of these. You can also put a discount in there, or you can just overwrite that price because you've got the list price, quantity, and if you want to give them a deal, a discount, you can do that there. So we're going to save that, and now we've got this quote, and we can come back here to the opportunity, and let's say you want to give them two options. Let's say we want to do one where there's only 400 of those, and you can hit save. You could also clone the quote here to get it if you wanted. There should be clone button. In fact, that isn't added anyway. So we're going to give them a different option. I'm just kind of making up things here for this example. 400 of these. So now we have our opportunity, and the opportunity has two different quotes. Now let's say that you present them and they're kind of going through the process. This could be an internal process, so draft, needs review, in review, approved. This could be an internal approval where you want to maybe work with a manager or someone else on your team, make sure that the quote is in alignment with their requirements or their needs. And then from this point, you can get to presented. Once you present the quote and it gets accepted, then what we can do here is we can sync the quote. Oh, by the way, when you present it, very important feature, you can generate a quote, and you can even generate that quote and email it out. So you click this button here, create quote, and you can see that it will actually generate a PDF quote. And ideally this would work. And so it would ideally merge in your products in here. There we go. So you can see this quote has pulled in all of our Salesforce data. So it's pulled in their address, it's pulled in the preparer information, it's pulled in the bill to, contact info, ship to, and of course the products, their price, the quantity, and the total price. So you can see here it's a nice hefty sale. We've got 13.6 million for this quote. And then what we'll do is we'll hit save and email. And you can also integrate e-signature, so that this could actually be a pretty seamless e-signature quote to sign. But we'll hit save and email. And now what this has done is it's created an email, it's put that as an attachment, it's sent it to our primary contact, and you could even pre-populate a template, customize it a little bit, or just write out the email. There's your quote, and you just hit send, and just like that, the email would be out. So you've sent your quote, and then they accept it. You would update that status, and then here what we're going to do is we're going to sync the quote, and what that's going to do is it's going to sync it with the opportunity. So we sync that, we come back here, and we can see that these products have been added to the opportunity. And the reason for the quoting is that you might have multiple quotes that go out. So from here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna move things through the process. So maybe you're in that negotiation review. Log a few more activities and then mark this as closed won. So congratulations, you have closed the deal. You went from a brand new lead all the way to getting a signed agreement. Another thing that I'll cover here is the tasks. And so anytime you create a task, and if you see the task that we had, here's one, for example, introduce Carolyn to our VP of Sales for further assistance, which actually sounds like a better example of a task than what I put. If that's something that's on your to-do list, you could check it off there, or what you can do, I'll uncheck that. You could go to your task list because you might have 80 different tasks that are scattered about, and you can just go through your open tasks and you can just go one by one. So that's a pretty important thing to keep in mind. A couple other things that I'll cover, I'll hit on list views, and I'll also hit on the sales console. So list views, this is how you find your data. All of these tabs, things like leads, contacts, accounts, opportunities, cases, and other objects, as they're called, are databases. And we've got filters here that are on each list view. So I'll just go back to, I'll actually create a new one. So we've got closing this month, closing next month, my opportunities, the ones that are owned by my user, new this week, and a few others. Let's say we only wanted to see that our opportunities that are in the, let's say the proposal stage. We could create a new list view by clicking here. We could call it stage proposal. And since we're an admin, we can make this visible to everyone, or what most users can do is just make it visible to themselves. So I'll save that. Go in here. I just want to see my own. I don't want to see the whole company. Unless you did, you could make it all. And we'll apply a filter. So we're going to say that our stage equals proposal. And we're going to save that. And now we've got our view here that just has our all our opportunities in the proposal stage. So I'm also going to cover the sales console. That this is a very useful way of working, where it allows you to have tabs for your information. And so to get there, you're going to click the 9 dots on the top left, and we'll pick our sales console. From here, what we can do is we can open up our views, so our list views like I just covered, and let's say we've got our open leads. And I just want to go down, I want to hit on a handful of these, so we're going to call Andy. In fact, we'll just go down and do all of them, just like that. And so what this does is it allows us to have our view here where we can create our task, log our call, update a few fields, update a stage, and once we're done, you just hit X, and it basically instantly takes you to the next one. So we log our call. Don't recommend just logging it with no description, or there could be a rule in your system that blocks you from doing it unless there is a description. But we'll do what we need to do here, jump to the next one. As you can see, it's basically instantly lets you go through. And so this allows you to kind of create your own lists, address whatever you need to in this same view, and move along. Last thing that I'm going to cover here is just the search bar. The search bar is a really powerful tool that allows you to find anything. And as you start typing, I'll just type the letters B-O, for example, and it's picked up a record that's got the name Boxer in it. And so you can just type, and if you also want to search and you have a lot of data that comes up, you can filter the search results. So maybe you only wanted to see quotes that you sent or tasks. So anyway, there's a lot of features in Salesforce. There is not enough time for me to cover everything, but I did hit on some of the important features. I cannot overemphasize that this has to be customized, but that the concepts like list views, going through your lead status and opportunity stages, those typically are pretty similar. The object structure, the home page. So I hope that this gives you good context. Also, if you want to reach out to me directly or you have questions about Salesforce, you can give me an email. My email, I'm just going to put it here in the search bar because I'm kind of doing this ad hoc. My email is oliver.shoulder@everpeakpartners.com. Feel free to reach out to me with questions. I've been consulting on Salesforce for about 5 years, and I'm more than happy to give some advice or answer questions. So I hope this helps. Have a good one.